Today I will cover 4 disadvantages of buy-to-let properties as a passive income strategy. As a chartered financial planner, this is what I tell my clients who ask me and are looking to buy their first or second residential property to rent out. Many change their minds after hearing the logic. Also, I provide alternative strategies to get passive income that are more tax efficient, cheaper, and less cumbersome to manage. I want to make it clear that I'm not talking about buying a property to live in yourself or even a second home that you use quite a lot. That is a completely different consideration, as when you want to buy to live in a home, it's quite different to buying as an investment. Hi, I'm Cleona, founder of Conscious Money, and on this channel I give you honest strategies around being free and clear with money and life. Before we talk about the disadvantages, 2 points. I can see why buying property is appealing. People know property in their gut. They've sometimes seen their parents and grandparents get great returns from buying a property. This familiarity in decision making can also lead to like a felt comfort zone that can be called a cognitive bias, a familiarity bias. Also, another reason why property is attractive is that you can create more wealth by borrowing or leveraging your gain with a smallish, say 25% deposit in a property and a mortgage on the rest. This ability to leverage is a seriously huge advantage with property investing. I would never encourage you to borrow money to invest in the equity markets. Leverage can also quickly amplify your liability in a market downturn. So, noting familiarity bias and the ability to leverage, now to the disadvantages. The first one to my mind is diversification. If you already live in and own a UK residential property, your wealth pie has a large chunk of the UK property market. So why buy more slices of the same pie? The concept of diversification implies that you create a portfolio that includes multiple investments in order to reduce risk. Therefore, logically, you would invest in other asset classes, bonds, stocks, commercial property. You could even buy a global property tracker fund or REITs, real estate investment trusts, if you were keen on the property angle. Just own it in a more diversified way. Tax. If you are a UK taxpayer, rental income is taxed like earned income. By creating more income, you're not really in control of the tax leakage. Here, think of a water pipe flowing towards you, although with a big hole in it. Paying taxes is a good thing. It's a joyful activity. It's contributing to society. However, I'm all for smarter ways of putting your money to work. There's also the higher stamp duty to consider on second homes now, and of course capital gains tax when you eventually sell the property. The third reason is liquidity. Housing is not a liquid asset to sell. It can take months. People change their minds easily after committing, and one needs patience in the selling and negotiations process. There are costs to buying and selling a rental property too, so it's not a cheap transaction to get into. The fourth reason is your beautiful and precious life energy. You also have to consider the life energy and hours involved in exchange to manage the property and tenants. Even if you outsource the work to an agent, it involves some of your time to manage that relationship and oversee decisions, as it is ultimately your own home. If you have a call about the boiler or the washing machine being broken, it is slightly aggravating. An interesting point, at the time of making this video, the current dividend yield on the FTSE 100 is 4.81%, and the UK average rental yield is about 3.53%. There are other tax efficient ways to invest, like ISAs and pensions. Pensions, as you know, have the additional benefit of effectively increasing the basic rate tax band. Capital gains tax is tax payable on gains made by investing in things like mutual funds. It's much kinder to your pockets, payable at a lower rate than income tax, and plus you can use ISA allowances to wrap these investments up and preserve tax efficiency. You could even be an ISA millionaire and have tax-efficient income paid out to you from your ISA. The UK has a high proportion of privately rented homes owned by individuals, and the perception is that investors have been crowding out owner-occupiers. Property prices usually rise over time, somewhat in line with inflation. In the last decade or so, however, we have had an unusual scenario of cheap borrowing and much financial support with schemes for new buyers to get on the housing ladder. So property prices have gone up quite sharply, which has created a sort of a bubble-esque environment. Having said that, bubbles can stay bubbles for a long time. So to recap, please consider diversification, tax, liquidity, transaction costs of buying and selling, exchanging your life energy, and bubble-esque environments. There are always choices that exist to create income if you need income. Tax-efficient, diversified ways of building wealth by investing in equity funds where you can take a fixed income or natural income from the capital. As always, take what resonates for you from the video, and ultimately it's your decision. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, hit the like button for me and leave a nice comment. It really helps, and hope to see you again in the next video. Oh, and do subscribe.